Nga Agahon, coming to you live from Numancia, Aklan in Western Visayas in the Philippines. I'm having my morning cup of tea. Tea this time, it's green tea is what I'm drinking now. I have to switch to green tea here for a little bit. I'm gonna have to lay off on the coffee here for a while here. Delicious though, delicious. I like green tea. I've always liked green tea. Very popular when I lived in Japan. I lived in Japan for 4 years, and green tea was one served at many restaurants, cafes in Japan while I was stationed there at Misawa Air Base in Japan. Greetings and salutations, HD. Greetings and salutations. Always start with the weather, and we've had quite weather in our area here the past day, yesterday. A lot of activity as far as weather in eastern Visayas, most of Visayas pretty much. As of 3 a.m. today, the center of Typhoon Opong was estimated 470 kilometers west now. It's left like it's looking at the windy app. It's no longer inland in the Philippines. It's now in the West Philippine Sea. That's why it says west of Tanuan City, Batangas. Still pretty strong, 120 kilometers per hour wind and 150 kilometers per hour as the gust. But leaving the Philippines as of 4 a.m. So probably it's gonna be out, at the South China Sea by noontime today, I'm sure. Metro Manila, Ilocos region, Central Luzon, clouds this morning. I did see earlier the sun was trying to peak, so all these clouds will probably burn off here really fast, really fast. Do you say matcha tea, green tea, or just matcha? I'm not a big matcha fan. Liana is the one that likes matcha. She likes the matcha tea, the drinks here, matcha drinks. I'm not big on it. I'm more green tea person. Joe, good AM, Gino. Good morning, Joe. Good morning, Joe. And today, let me see. I was trying to come up with a topic, and let me see here. I forgot. I have it on my other phone. I had notes on my other phone. No worries. I can always improvise. That's what the military taught us. Always improvise. Be able to adapt to anything. That's what I learned. 20 years in the military. And my topic today, I was gonna talk about the Philippines as far as the Philippines is not for the weak, and I'm gonna explain that. I'm gonna explain why the Philippines is not for the weak. Meaning, I'm just gonna Google because I already Googled. I want to hit what Google says first for because I don't want to offend anybody. It's like I know people are sometimes sensitive. When I say not for the weak, this is the meaning. What Google says for not for the weak. Something is exceptionally challenging, demanding, or intense, requiring significant strength, resilience, or skill to handle. And the key aspect of the phrase requires strength. The core idea is requires strength. And that's why I say the Philippines is not for the weak. If you want an easier life, if you want to not have to go through typhoons, not have to go through flooding, not have to go through a power outage, You can probably find that in the country where you're at, the more Western country, more developed country. But when you come to like a place like the Philippines, this is a developing country. And with the developing country, infrastructure a lot of times is lacking. And sometimes the infrastructure that they're building, not the best quality, not the best quality. So it is a challenge. It is a challenge to live in a developing country. That's why I said it's not for the weak. I see people all the time when postings, YouTube channels post on YouTube. We show the life here in the Philippines. We show our daily life. We show, like yesterday during a Typhoon Opong here in Aklan Province, there were areas in Aklan Province that got flooded. Ibahay, right now, Ibahay, Aklan is in a state of calamity. They just got, the rain that they took in just flooded most of Ibahay, the town of Ibahay. Tangalan, I saw some flooding in Tangalan. Also in Malay, I saw some flooding in Malay. But here in Numancia, no flooding at all. Or in Calibo, no flooding at all. It just happens like that here in the province. It's kind of like a hit or miss with like the rain, the amount of rain that falls on an area. There are times in Calibo, same thing here in Numancia, like at the Bulwang area of Barangay Bulwang in Numancia, kind of like the flood-prone area here in Numancia. It doesn't even be a typhoon. It could just be normal habagat rain. It could be like 1 hour of just torrential downpour. Next thing you know, the road is flooded. Same thing in Calibo. There's areas in Calibo like Oyotorong area, La Serna area. It doesn't take much to flood those areas. And if you watch the video that I put out last night, I filmed the Aklan River right at the Numancia Calibo Bridge. You would have seen like the amount of water. I was just amazed that the amount of water that was on Aklan River. Normally, when you look down at that bridge, you're looking down 20, 30 feet easy before you see water. But yesterday, it was almost at the top of the bridge. So any more rain that somewhere in the mountains or anything like that we have gotten, it would have definitely caused some flooding in Calibo. Let me just look through the notes here, make sure I don't miss anything here. Good morning from Joe, Greg and Sarah. All right, Greg and Sarah. All right. I'll keep you company while everybody's waking up. All right. I just started early because I'm awake already. I've been like answering people's messages to me. I wanted to get done early. Maybe I'll get done around 8, then I'll head to the gym. I like getting to the gym. I'm a morning person. I like getting to the gym early because I still have energy in the morning. Just wondering, since people say matcha tea means green tea in Japanese, so when people say matcha tea, it's like, oh, okay, I did not know that, H.E. I did not know that some people say that. I've never heard of it. That's the first time I've heard that matcha it's like saying green tea. I thought it was two different items. I thought matcha is different. Normally, I see matcha like in a green powder form. Green tea I normally see in tea bags is what I've seen, what I've bought. I've never bought matcha, so I've only seen it at the cafes here when they serve it. Good morning, Charlie Letts. Oh, good morning, Charlie. My good friend in Boston. It's Friday afternoon here in Menifee. All right. I'm trying to think here. Menifee, California? I'm not sure. Maybe I need to Google it. I think it is. My geography in the U.S. is no longer the best. No longer the best because I have not been in the U.S. now for 14 years. Menifee, California. So I was correct. when you leave the United States after 14 years, a lot of the areas in the United States that were so familiar 14 years ago, not so much anymore. Because I don't get to drive it anymore. I don't get to travel in the U.S. anymore. And also, when you get older, the memory just doesn't work as well. Like some people know, it's like I'll be 60 next year, so I'm not getting any younger. And most people know that once you start getting older, the memory, the sharpness of your mind just isn't there anymore. You're gonna lose some of that sharpness in your mind. That's why a lot of your athletes, a lot of your even chess players, they peak. Once you start hitting close to 60, the mind is not as sharp. Okay, I'll go back to like the not for the weak here in the Philippines. So that's one of the things. It requires strength. Challenging situations is another key aspect of the phrase. It's often used to describe difficult experiences, dangerous tasks, or demanding conditions that require one to leave their comfort zone. And I will explain that. A lot of times when I lived in the U.S. for over 30 years. In the U.S., we just have conveniences. We had luxury in the U.S. Everything's efficient. And one of the things in the U.S. that I can really compare against here in the Philippines, in the U.S., safety. Safety is like paramount in the U.S. Everything is all about safety in the U.S. You can see a motorcycle rider in the U.S. They got helmet, they got like arm guards, knee guards, leather jacket, boots. That's how they roll in the United States. Safety is paramount. Sometimes it's required, right? You would get arrested if you don't have all the proper safety gear. If you're working on a construction site, if you don't have the hard hat, the reflective vest, you can get in trouble. In the Philippines, that is not the case. That is not the case here in the Philippines. I can ride on a motorbike here with shorts and flip-flops. I have seen people do that, motorbikes, even just flip-flop shorts, and I've even seen people without any shirt on, right on the highway, main highway here in Numancia. No helmet, nothing. Just like catching the sun, catching the wind. And like I said before, this is the province. We don't have a lot of like the rules. Like if you're Manila, if you're in Cebu City, Iloilo City, you have rules there. You have rules there. But when you live here in the province, it's just a wild, wild west here. Safety is not one of those things that they push. Here. You're gonna see a lot of things here that you're gonna go look at it and say, that's kind of dangerous, kind of like iffy. The tricycles here, often when you see the tricycle, that's kind of like the main hauler here in the province. Everything gets hauled by the tricycle. I'm talking refrigerator, couches, long 20-foot, 30-foot bamboo is moved by tricycles. And then it's not even like I have seen where people would like sheets of metal or like long pieces of wood. They'll put it on top of the tricycle, and usually at the end you're supposed to put like some kind of warning device, right? Because like when the tricycle's straight, it's okay. He can see like in the front, the back, he can kind of see. But when the minute that tricycle turns, that wood or that piece of metal, it's all, it like swings and can easily hit people, can easily hit other cars. I have been caught surprised by them before. When I see tricycles here, I always like I always give it distance. I'm always like, because you never know if there's like a piece of metal and they forgot to put like the warning device. And then again, a lot of times the warning device, it's not even like a neon, orange, green, bright item. Usually they'll tie like a piece of paper sometimes, leaves sometimes. It's like just not, again, safety is not like the focus. Even yesterday, I saw a different post on Facebook. The reason we didn't have power yesterday, the power went out, I would say, I think noontime or 1. And I was expecting it. I was even talking it on the live stream, how sometime during the typhoon when it was passing through, it actually missed Aklan. We caught like the outer bands, but the on the windy app, where the typhoon, where it kind of circles, it actually like barely nudging like north of Aklan. But even with that, I was expecting our power to go out, because a lot of times the problem here in the province is the wind. When the wind is strong, it just knocks out a lot of power lines. And yesterday, one of the lines got knocked over. Fortune, I was like talking to Fortune yesterday, and he had a name for it. Let me just find Fortune's message. He's kind of like my go-to guy here, man. Fortune's like a smart dude, man. He said the grid poles. It's not just the distribution poles, I guess, are the lines coming into people's houses, but this one that fell over in Tangalan, Aklan, this big power line. I don't know if you guys can see it on my camera here, but that's the pole that fell. It's like metal poles, 2 poles like that. And I guess Fortune, the name for this, they call this grid poles. So these are like the gigantic poles that you see out in, out of the, away from people, out in the middle, like the rice field, out in the middle. And this one that fell, it was in Tangalan. So this thing's gigantic, this grid pole that fell. So of course it's gonna take them long to put that back up. And that knocked out power in Calibo, Numancia, pretty much I think the whole Aklan province. It knocked out our power. It took them around 8:30. I was already in bed. I was almost falling asleep when the power came on. It didn't bother me yesterday that the power was not working, because we have our Blue Yeti, we have our internet, we're entertained by phones, our laptop. The main thing that bothers me here with power outages normally is the heat. It gets hot, when the power outage. But because there was a windy yesterday, Typhoon Opong, it wasn't hot at all. I just opened the door, opened the window, and it was cool. Oh, the sun is actually coming out. Let me go out there and show you the sun. Hey, there's Fortune. I see Fortune. Good. It's Friday. All right. Fortune. Good AM, fam, and the Panay Posse. Overcast all day. All right. Let me just take you outside here real quick and show you that we are getting the sun. There's still some clouds, so it still might rain, but at least the sun is out this morning. Nice sunrise here this morning. The sun kind of starts peaking, but we still got clouds, so more likely. And these clouds and these rains, it's no longer from Typhoon Opong. It's now just the normal habagat, the southwest monsoon rains here in our province. I just like looking at the sunrise. I never get tired of the sunrise. Ooh, I see the boss rooster. Oh, perfect timing. There's the boss rooster in that house. He's made it all the way here again to our. He loves going to this vacant lot here now. I think this is like the boss rooster's territory. Normally, I see him at the entrance of Camellia Aklan, but today he has made it all the way out here. He has one hen, looks like, with him. I don't see, normally, the last time he made it all the way out here, he had 4 hens and then 4 little chickens. Today, it's just the boss rooster and looks like a solo female. Right there, he's walking around that house. But quiet still in the morning here. Like you can see, our neighborhood is always peaceful. I don't see him anymore. He ducked inside that house. The boss rooster. Overcast all day. It looks like it's gonna be overcast here for us too. But it didn't rain this morning. I think it was raining a little bit last night. The road here is still a little wet, but at least we're getting a little bit of sunrise. Not yet the sun beaming, but good to see that it's at least we're having a little bit of sun. Hope all is well there post Opong. And no damage here, Fortune. We drove to Edgar's house apartment yesterday in Calibo. No damage at all in Calibo, no flooding, same thing in Numancia. We bought some fruit. We bought Ramboy's liempo, pork liempo, the rotisserie pork, because we didn't feel like cooking, and we didn't have electricity, and I didn't want to take out the butane, our gas, like little butane. So we just decided to get takeout for dinner last night. But quiet, all you hear is the birds. I don't see the boss rooster anymore. He might have headed back to the gate. Make sure you don't play around on the flood. I never play around in the flood water. We don't have that here anyway. No flood or most of that stuff that you see on TV, HD, a lot of that is in Manila. You know, people here in the province, they're smarter. They're smarter here in the province. The people in Manila, they're so excited when they see water. Here in the province, it's not a big deal. We live like a 10-minute drive to the beach. So we always see water here. So a lot of times the people in Manila, that's their only chance to go swimming. You know, it's like or play in the water. Here, we got plenty of water here. We're surrounded by water here. Rivers, we got fish ponds, you know, it's not a problem here. Yeah, we don't have that issue here, leptospirosis with flood. Like I said, people here don't, you know, it's not a big thing. If Calibo floods, not a lot of kids will be playing out in the flood because Calibo, there's a beach in Calibo, you know, Lambingan Beach, you know, so that happens, a lot of that leptospirosis. It happens in the cities, especially Metro Manila, because those people don't see, they don't see water and they don't see greenery. You know, the only water they see is Manila Bay, and you'll catch something in Manila Bay. You don't want to be swimming in Manila Bay. Right next to Lake, oh, I know where that is. That's why Menifee sounds familiar, because one of my best friends in the world back in the 80s, Kenny, my roommate in the military, he's from Lake Elsinore, and he used to take me there. We were like the Southern Cal people that got stationed at George. So Kenny's now, he lives in France now. Man, it's like he retired in France, and he races horses in France. But that's why I knew. That's why when I saw Menifee, I was like, man, that's like looks so familiar. Next to Lake Elsinore. That's why I know where it is. 1 hour from San Diego. Richard, all right, Richard, okay. Like I said, a lot of those areas in Southern California, I have not lived in Southern California since the 80s, you know, so that's 90s, 2000. I mean, there's a lot of years, you know, it's like, that's why I don't recall, you know, it's like, I don't remember a lot of those places. Like even Northern California, I used to go there, but that was in the 80s. You know, that was the last time I've been in the area. So I'm sure it's just changed so much. Southern California, Northern California has changed from the 80s. Small, sleepy town, but growing fast. I bet, you know, it's like I could imagine, because a friend of mine messaged me. My first assignment was Victorville, California, George Air Force Base, and there wasn't nothing much in George Air Force Base. When I was stationed there, it was just the military base, and the towns around us was like Hesperia, Adelanto, Apple Valley, and Victorville. But there wasn't much in that town. But a friend of mine told me that he visited Victorville. It's like a good sized place now. Victorville's a good sized town or city now. Those green powder is what's used for green tea. There is a tea ceremony where they use certain quality green tea for it. So when you say you're drinking green tea in Japan, you can say matcha. All right, thank you for that information, HD. I've always just drank green tea. That's what I always thought it was. You know, it's like when I ate at restaurants in Japan, they always serve you green tea. Dr. Pooh, all right, what's up, buddy? Glad to see your weather the storm. Yeah, I mean, for us, there was rain like yesterday on the live stream. You saw there was rain, there was wind, but it's we got lucky. We got lucky here in Numancia, and Calibo got lucky because Ibahay, which is only from us here, we got Makato, Tangalan, and then Ibay, three towns away. They got hammered, man. They got flooded. You know, it's like it flooded in their main public market area. The rice fields in Ibahay, it's like buried in water. So I don't know how much that would be as far as crop damage, but the governor already declared it's a state of calamity for Ibahay, Aklan. And we were in the outer area of the typhoon Opong. So, you know, people like I know in Samar and in Masbate, like Masbate City, they got like big power poles that fell on the main street in Masbate City. Our friend Michael White, the thriving Philippine expat, he had damage. He had like 7 or 8 trees that fell, banana trees that fell. His house, you know, I was watching his live stream because he has Starlink, he has solar, and he was live streaming during the storm. Man, it was like leaves were flying around. You know, everybody was hunkered down in like their main area, living room area. The top floor was a little open. It was just like it got wet. Everything got wet. So I'm sure they got cleaning up to do. But like I was saying, that's part of my topic today. You know, you got to be pretty resilient here in the Philippines. It is not for the weak. You know, it's like for us that's been here. I've been here 14 years. I'm not quite sure how long Michael White's been here. To him, you could tell when he was live streaming, it seemed like he was having a good time. You know, we're not like, you know, I know when people, you know, stay safe, you know, I know they care. But for us, it's not like we're like worried, like we're scared, you know, because we've been here, you know, like Michael White, I'm sure it is not his first rodeo. You know, like for me, you know, it's like I've been here 14 years. I've been through 2 super typhoons, Super Typhoon Yolanda in 2014, Super Typhoon Ursula in 2019. I had 1 month of no electricity in Calibo. I lived in Calibo in an apartment for 1 month, no electricity. I've lived here in Numancia for 1 week, no electricity. So for me, you know, it's like, there's really nothing that I can't handle in my mind anyway, right? You know, you know, it's like the preparation, we got gallons of drinking water, I got canned goods, rice, you know, for food and drinking water, it's not a problem. I know people worry about what happens to your refrigerator if you don't have electricity that long. Well, you just start eating what's in your refrigerator. You know, it's like that's why we don't buy a lot. We don't store a lot of stuff in the refrigerator or in our freezer because if an event like that happens, we just know how to handle it and we don't panic. You know, to me, it's like. You know, in the Philippines, we go through 18 to 20 typhoons a year, and maybe one or two. Like this year, this will only be the first one that actually impacted us here in Aklan. Most of the typhoons that come through the Philippines doesn't impact us here in Western Visayas. And even that one, even Typhoon Opong, there's no damage in our community. There's no damage in Calibo, in Numancia, in our subdivision here, I didn't have to worry about falling trees or, debris flying in the air. It's like, if it happens, it happens, but it's not like a big concern to us, for the things that we have gone through here. It's just another day in the Philippines, and I'm sure, like Michael White, I'm gonna watch his live stream here. I'm sure he'll go on the live stream today. It's gonna be cleanup day for him in Masbate, where he lives, and then in a day's time, you wouldn't even notice that a typhoon had gone through his island of Masbate Island. We're just resilient, and like I said, it's like we're just good at recovery. Good at it's not a big thing to us. Typhoon. I know people in the U.S. Ooh, a hurricane, or a typhoon or earthquakes. It's like a big deal, but for us here that's been here in a while in the Philippines, it's not a big deal. It's like here in the Philippines, they even even like there could be typhoons already, it could be flooding already. People are still drinking Red Horse. They're still like singing karaoke. It's not a ending event. Filipinos are just, you hear that word all the time. They're just resilient. We're used to, Filipinos are just used to all these calamities. What's up, Moto, Batang 90s. Hey, Batang 90s. Yes, I'm in the province of Aklan. I'm in the province of Aklan. People are wearing for the ride, not for the slide. You're supposed to wear for the slide. Oh, okay. I think that I know what you mean. That way, if you fall on the motorbike, at least you're not all scraped up. You just don't see that here. It's like, I know it's a requirement by LTO here. You're supposed to wear pants when you ride a motorbike, but a lot of people here wear shorts. Aklan, all right, Aklan. Vidisha, hi, from India, all right. Welcome to the channel from India. Good day, HD and Joe. I've seen modified tricycle with bamboo seats hanging and seats 3 on each side. Oh yeah, that's in different parts of the country. Not in our area, they don't do that. But I know in Mindanao, parts of Mindanao, the habal is what they call it. It's like a motorcycle, and there's a piece of wood or bamboo, stretched out wide, and you put passengers on the right, you put passengers on the left. You kind of balance it. They're pretty good. I mean, they're pretty good here at riding motorcycles because motorcycles are so common here. Motorcycles are so, that's the most vehicles. When you're in the province, it's motorbikes that you will see here mostly. More motorcycles, more tricycles than cars here. I was just looking at my notes to see the topic I was discussing, if I have any more to add. Good morning, good day, Fortune. It's transmission line, all right. From the power plant's generation, power is transmitted via grid poles transmission. Then distributors like Meralco, Akelco have shorter distribution poles. Yeah. The ones in town are shorter. The one that fell, these are gigantic. These are like they're usually like planted like out in the middle of nowhere, like on the rice fields or in the mountains. And that's what fell. That's why when those things fall, it takes some time, I'm sure, to repair it. Because and then of course when the winds and the rain, not the easiest task to be repairing that thing when it's raining and when it's windy, I'm sure. But they did a good job. I mean, the power went out about noontime, 1 p.m. by 8, about 7 hours. That's pretty good for them to be able to repair something like that. And then I know on the video I even showed you, there's like one power line in Numancia, and I'm sure there's power lines that drop, so Akelco, Aklan Electric Cooperative, they're busy, they're hustling, during rain, during wind, during typhoon. They, of course, they get a lot of flack here in our province, but those guys, man, they're risking their lives. In my opinion, I'm grateful for them. It's like, how would you want to be working out there in the elements when it's like windy and raining, torrential rain, and you're like repairing electricity? That could not, that can't be that much fun, So they're out there risking their lives, get electric power back, because they don't wait. They don't wait for like the rains to stop, or they don't wait until the wind stop. They're trying to get all the electricity back in Aklan province, and they did a great job. It's like, I know they get hammered here in our Aklan province every time the power goes out, but and they do a lot of preventive things here. Like, I know here in our community, even in Numancia, I always see it, where they will shut down electricity for a day for 12 hours, usually 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. And what they do is they cut trees. Because the Philippines, it's so green here. Trees just grow fast here. It's like mango trees, whatever trees, and you don't want them crashing in when it gets windy on the power lines. That's why they're busy doing that all year. There's not a month here where I don't see, them cutting down branches with like they use like the electric, the gas powered saw even. It's like that you see in America. They're doing like preventive things. So it's not like they're not doing those kind of things. I know in our neighborhood, we don't have a problem with that as far as like trees getting near the power line. So when the wind knocks down the tree or knocks down the branches, it'll damage the power line. So they do a lot of preventive, at least they're doing that. It's not like they're sitting on their butt and not doing anything to prevent power interruptions. And it hasn't been bad, actually, for me anyway. It's worse before. They've improved so much as far as like power outages here. We don't get I know I saw one video, one blogger blogged about Sikihor, and I've talked about Sikihor in my live stream before, how they were declared a state of calamity. 1 week, their power was like gone, because there's areas in the Philippines that are like that. So just don't move there. It's like, if you know that the area is like lacking in infrastructure, has power, electricity problems, it's like, why move there? Like, find another place that's like, that doesn't have those issues. Do your research, Aklan province, I know compared to other provinces, we do not have like a big electricity problems. Do we get power outages? Yes, we get power outages, but tell me another province or another place here in the Philippines that doesn't suffer from power outages. Every place here has power electricity issues. That's why we're a developing country. That's why we're trying to improve. The Philippines is still I know like there's certain places now, Boracay Islands, one of them, like New Coast Boracay, they don't have power lines anymore hanging. They're burying them under the ground, which to me is smart. I think they did the same thing in parts of Davao City, where it's now on the ground instead of like hanging on power poles. But will all places in the Philippines be like that? It's going to take many years, and I'm sure it's expensive to bury those power lines underneath the ground. But at least they're trying. Peanut butter travels. Friday. All right, Friday. That's right. It's Friday in the U.S. And that's why when people protest on higher power costs, they gang up on the distributor. I know, like, even here, Fortune, the minute the power goes out here, everybody's on Facebook. Oh, you're terrible, Akelco, you're terrible. I'm like, dude, give them a break. They're trying to do their best. It's like, you're sitting in your house without electricity. They're out there trying to fix it in the rain, in the wind, in the typhoon. Come on. Truth is, the distributor only gets the distributions lead, while these are supposed to extremely high voltage. It's to minimize the current losses. They remit the transmission fee and generation fee to whoever owns them. All right, man. You guys know more about electricity than I do, man. I'm just concerned if I have electricity, I'm good. If I don't, hey, I'll wait till it comes on. I'll wait till it comes on. That's me, the boss rooster. That's me. Edgar, good morning. Good morning, Edgar. James Cabril. Good morning, James. Opong is exiting power now. Yeah, I'm looking at it on my Windy app here. My Windy app, I got it on my laptop. And I saw that it's now in the West Philippine Sea. The eye of it, anyway. The outer edges of the storm, it's still hitting. It is still hitting like a little bit of like the western portion of the southern Luzon. That's why probably I would say like in some of Palawan too. They're getting rain in Palawan also. And back to normal. Yep, just back to normal here. Habagat until October, until about next month, till we switch over to Amihan, the Amihan season when the southwest monsoon rains are over. Good day, Peanut Butter Travel, Edgar. Your first Philippine typhoon. I know, right? I know, Edgar. Not only that, like a power outage still caused by I think Edgar's been through one power outage already caused by like maintenance, like at least a scheduled power outage. But this one was, I think, the first unscheduled power outage in Calibo for Edgar. Your sky looks like ours today. Possible rain in the San Diego, California. Oh, the sun is starting to come out now. It's starting to be bright. Hopefully, it'll burn off some of these clouds. I'm doing laundry, so after I do the laundry, I gotta hang them up. Hopefully, I get some sun today to dry our laundry. Hello, Fortune and HD. Opong veered lower than. That's why Masbate, Romblon were hit. The original forecast passed. Yeah, the initial forecast, it was gonna hit Eastern Visayas like normal. That's like the normal trajectory, Samar and Leyte. And normally after that, it goes northwest towards Bicol. Bicol was supposed to get hit, but it went a little lower. That's why Masbate got hit. That's why we got rain. Like I said, this is number 15. The 14 other typhoons this year didn't cause any rain in our area. This is the first typhoon that caused rain in our area here in Aklan province. Who owns the substation to the towns? Did you purchase your form? Edgar, did you purchase your form? Not yet. Edgar's not in that part yet. He's still trying to adjust. He's only been here a couple of weeks now, so Edgar still has to get his motorcycle license. He doesn't have a motorcycle endorsement on his license. So if he wants to get a motorbike, he'll have to attend driving school here and get that endorsement on his license. And he can't get a license. That's one of the things when you land here. You can't get a license here. You can't get a bank account. You can't get a GCash here until you get your Alien Certificate of Registration, your ACR card. And the time that you will apply for your ACR card is not until at least 60 days in. You get 29 days when you land in the Philippines. You get your first extension is 30 days. You can't get your ACR card on your first extension. You get your ACR card on your second extension, which is you can extend for 2 months. But that's at least 59 days, 60 days before you get an ACR card. You can expedite your ACR card, pay extra, I think, to get it quicker. But without the ACR card, you can't transfer your license to a Philippine license. You can't open a bank account. You can't get GCash. So you're limited what you can do when you're on a tourist visa when you get here. Patience. You got to be patient. Nothing happens like overnight here. That's one of the things you have to learn when you come to the Philippines is patience. You're retired anyway. That's what I tell people when you're retired. What's the rush? It's like I think that's the mindset that in time you will get that mindset here in the Philippines. You will learn to slow down your life. You will learn that everything in the Philippines moves on island time. Nothing is in a rush here, and you shouldn't rush anyway. You're retired. You got the time. I know that's goes against everything that coming from the U.S. When I was in the U.S., I lived there for over 30 years. Everything in the U.S. is like instant. Everything got to get done. I remember on my lunch break, on my military lunch break, I would hit the ATM, I would hit the bank, I would hit the post office, I would run to the BX, get something, get a takeout, and everything's like in a rush. Here in the Philippines, everything you got to take everything slow. It's like a trip to the bank here. If you got to go to the bank here, it's not going to be a short trip. It's going to be an hour, 2 hours, sometimes more, just to go inside the bank because you got to line up. You got to take your number. It's not as efficient here. You can do things here online, but I don't recommend it. I don't do online banking anymore. I do not trust online banking. I haven't been trapped. Nothing has been stolen from me online, but I hear people, I see things happening here that to me, it's the security is just not like I'm sure you do online banking in the US. Here in the Philippines, I don't think they have enough of the firewall protection or cyber security. Like I said, I've said it on the live stream. I went back old school, man. I went to the passbook. I got a paper passbook with my money typed in there, and when I withdraw, I go to the teller, show them my passbook, and they give me my passbook back, telling me my balance. I do not trust anything like electronic here. I don't go to websites. I think when I pay, I just paid for a hotel where we're spending money on a hotel, and I went to the 7-Eleven to pay it. You have that option here when you go to Agoda. You go to Agoda, make your reservation. When it's time to pay, hit 7-Eleven, they'll give you a QR code. I am not putting any card number, debit card number, anything like that on any website here. I just like my security, like online security is just like I stepped it up a bit, because I do not trust the internet. So many things can get stolen from you. Incorrect charges. I see people like their credit cards getting charged illegally, or somebody charging on their credit cards. That's not going to happen to me because I don't have credit cards anymore. I gave up my American credit card. I gave up my Philippine credit card. The substations are owned by a distributor, so Akelco for a clan, Antico. All right, Antico. You know more about it, Fortune. All I know, I gotta pay my bill with Akelco, and I paid him GCash. A guy comes in here, reads my meter. He prints out a paper. He's got a little machine that he prints the paper. He puts that paper in like a plastic bag. He ties it on my gate. That's how I get my electric bill. It's like some guy tying it. We don't get mail here. We don't get mail. It's a dude. It's a guy from Akelco, Client Electric, tying my bill in a plastic bag. So when it rains, the paper doesn't get wet, and he ties it to my gate. That's how we get our bill. And when I get it, I looked at it. I go my GCash, pay GCash. I'm done. And I only load GCash with the money I need. I do not load my GCash more than 10,000 pesos, not below $200, because I haven't gotten anything stolen on GCash. I've been using GCash now for many years. never had an issue. But would I put 50,000 or would I put 100,000 in Gcash? I ain't doing that, because I figured 10,000. If it gets stolen, it gets stolen. I'm like, okay. But so far, so good. So far, no problem on, because I'm really careful, like with you see the scams, the phishing scams or whatever. You get text messages, you get email on your email. I just delete those. I just delete a lot. I don't read them. I just delete them. That's how they fish your information. David Sayers and Phelan, California. That one I'm not familiar. Phelan. I haven't seen that one. Yo, Mr. G. All right, Tim C., my good friend in Vegas. Viva Las Vegas. Hope all is well. Hope all is well in Las Vegas, my friend. Of course, some distributors built their own power plants and became generation owners, like the Aboitiz of Cebu. They handle. Ooh, okay, all right. I know there must be big money. There must be big money on electricity fortune, because even Akelco, our electric company here in Aklan, every year they got this event. They book like the ABL is a sports complex, and man, they have a raffle. All you got to do is like show your electric bill, and your electric bill is like one entry into the raffle. They're big into raffles here. I don't really get it, but they do the raffle. So you show your electric bill, they give you a raffle ticket, and you put your raffle ticket in the bin. It's like, so everybody, there's like a long line getting the raffle ticket in the raffle. And man, they're raffling like motorbikes, motorbikes, flat screen TVs, people don't miss that, it's like the raffle, but I don't get it, it's like, if they must, I'm thinking they must be making a lot of money with Akelco, raffling all those gifts. I wish they would just like give us a discount on electricity instead of the raffle. That's a bit confusing and will put people in a wild goose chase when they're. That's probably why they do it, HD. That's probably why they do it. They confuse people here, man. I'm sure there's got to be some kind of corruption going on, and that's how they kind of hide corruption. It's like they confuse people. Hard to track down. Oh, who's at fault? When there's a big problem with electricity, like let's say. I remember Iloilo City one time. I think it was last year, beginning part of last year. 2 days, Iloilo City didn't have electricity. If you imagine that, man, it costs Iloilo City a lot of money. It's a city. When it's a city that loses power, I remember the mayor was like saying they're losing millions of dollars per day in business, because they got big malls, they big shopping malls there, a lot of restaurants. Business goes to a halt when you have electricity and it was an issue with like the national power grid or something. I mean, they fixed it because it hasn't happened ever since. I have not heard Iloilo City go dark like that again after. I did a video of it long time ago. I think it's almost 2 years ago now, but I still remember it. I remember when Iloilo City didn't have electricity for 2 days. The Lopezes of Iloilo used to own Meralco. I remember Meralco. That was our electric company in Manila growing up, but sold them to Manny PLDT, but they still own First Gen. Yeah, it must be, unfortunately, I'm thinking it must be a big money maker here in the Philippines, electricity, because you're mentioning names of big wig people here, and they're not doing it for free. There has to be big money in it. Yep, HD. That's why people only bark at the collector. I know, right? Everybody just gets mad at Aklan Akelco, Aklan Cooperative. They just get mad at they don't know where, they don't know the whole what happened, when they lose the electricity. David, I used to work as a cook at the Green Tree. Oh, in Hesperia, all right, the Green Tree. And That's about the time I was there. Man, we were like in the same area because 1984, April of 1984 is when I went to George Air Force Base. I got stationed in George Air Force Base in Victorville. And my friend, one of my good friends, David, he married this Japanese American lady that lived in Hesperia. So he ended up living in Hesperia. I would go to this house. So I know exactly where Hesperia is. That's cool. We were like in the same area about the same time. I was there for almost 3 years before I got stationed in Korea. I left George Air Force Base and I went to Suwon Air Base in South Korea. Is my next assignment. Good morning, Colonel. Good morning, Colonel. Thank you for joining the live stream, Colonel. Appreciate you, sir. So, who controls the grid breakers, or who knows, man? Over here, man, you would have to do research to figure out who owns the power, who controls electricity. I know it's some big important people in the Philippines. At one time, I remember, I think, Fortune, correct me if I'm wrong, I remember Meralco was owned by the government, at one time. But until they commercialized Meralco. Meralco used to control a lot of the Philippine electricity, but now, and the government was controlling it, and that's why, pretty much any way they do it here, I think, even if it's controlled by the government, it's controlled by commercial. Unfortunately, this is the Philippines. You're gonna have corruption here, no matter what. It's just the way it is in the Philippines. I think it's just ingrained in the Filipino, everything, corruption, stealing. It's just, unfortunately, that's why we're behind, with other Southeast Asian nations, because everything is just so corrupt. And it's just not the government here that's corrupt. Private company, everybody's just like greedy, greedy here. They don't think of the people, that suffer of their actions. It's like one corruption after another here in the news, people, politicians, companies here, everything's just about corruption, unfortunately. And you know what the Duterte government did? When they privatized the National Grid Corporation, China Grid Corporation became. Oh, I didn't know that. I do remember. It's like the previous administration, the Duterte administration, was pro-China, and there's a lot of projects here in the Philippines that were Chinese funded, Chinese partner. That was horrible. It's like, hopefully we never suffered through that again. Hopefully, I don't know. That was a big mistake, in my opinion. Just my opinion. I don't get political. I just don't like China. China is the enemy to me. It's like you're partnering with China. You're doing business with China. Anything you do with China, you're not gonna win. They are crooked. They are dirty. It's like I do not trust the Chinese government at all. At all. Bad business to be doing anything with the Chinese. Good AM, Fortune. Good AM. Power various distribution companies, the private, provincial, cooperatives, the power. All right. National Grid. I see why there are some issues with reliability on the grid. I grew up in Florida. Hurricane Swain was the best. I always knew there was going to be an awesome hurricane party. It's the same here, Filipinos, like I said, it's like you would see people here, like in Metro Manila, especially. I guess it's just you're in the flood. When it floods in Metro Manila, you will see people like in their living room. Water inside, dirty water, brown water in their living room. They have their feet up like this, like in a chair, so their feet are not getting wet, and they'll be drinking Red Horse. So it's like, what else you got to do? It's like, are you gonna cry about it if you got flooded? Here, it's like And one thing about the floods here, they don't linger anyway. I know in other places I've seen where it floods, and because the river rises or the dam breaks, and it's flooded for like weeks sometimes. There are areas in the Philippines that does that, like I think in Bulacan area, my province of Bulacan, there's areas like that, and also Pampanga. But for the most part, majority of floods here, like in Ibahay, they were flooded yesterday, but I can bet you today they're not flooded anymore. Everything's like back to normal. It's like water recedes pretty fast, because I guess even Aklan River, a day from now, like even today or tomorrow, that water's gonna be back down, 20 feet down again. The water goes out to the ocean. Hurricane party. I'm sure. I see that here. I see people here. It's like I know a lot of places. They here. You don't. I remember like in the U.S. like when I lived in Louisiana when there was a hurricane coming in Florida. You see people boarding up stuff, right, preparing their house because they know the damage. Man, you don't see many of that here. Filipinos, you don't see many people like our subdivision here. Not one person boarded up the house here. It's just because we know, well, if it comes, it destroys the glass window, whatever, we'll replace it. It's just not that big a thing, until it happens, because it doesn't happen all the time. So people just don't worry about it. Yes, HD, reliability. And oligarchs bought. Yeah, oligarchs. I understand that. But like I said, I remember when the government owned electricity. And of course, when government owns electricity, there's problem with that too. It's like, I don't think it improved by giving it to private companies. It's like, it's just never gonna, that's one thing, unfortunately. I get into discussion with people. I just don't see a way for the Philippines to get out of like to becoming a powerhouse economy, or to. There's just so much corruption here that it's like I'm sure it scares a lot of investors. Like if you're investing in the Philippines, I'm sure if you're a foreign country, foreign private company, you'd be scared to invest here just because of all the problems that you'll face here with corruption. All right, a lot of talk, a lot of talk between HD and Fortune here about the. Michael Malalastas, good morning, brother, from Northern California. All right, Michael. All right, man, it's a long conversation here. I just gotta like go through here. June Pogi, just want to say salutations. All right, June, thank you. All right, I got to the end. All right, all right. That was about all the topic today. What else can I discuss here? Let me see. I discuss, it's like how the Philippines is not for the weak. You will just experience a lot of things here in the Philippines that you're not accustomed to, that's new to you if you come here, especially if you're coming from a developed nation. There's a lot to overcome. That's why adapting to your new environment, not as easy as many people think. That's why you really have to come with an open mind. You have to come with the attitude of like adapting to the ways here. Remember, a lot of the people that come here, nobody like forced you to come here. something attracted you to the Philippines. That's why you came here. A lot of times it's a Filipina. You know, that's what a lot of times I know a lot of people come here because of the Filipina. A chance to meet a Filipina because I know it's hard. Like in a developed country, like I know in America, if you're in your 50s or 60s, it's hard to meet a partner at that later portion of your life. And you've seen how easier it is here to meet a Filipina here in the Philippines. That's why I know that's most of the people that come here, you know, that's they might want to like adjust first to the life, you know, tour the Philippines, but eventually it comes down to like meeting a Filipina, meeting a partner, finding a partner that's a good person, a partner that will take care of the expat, take good watch out for them. You know, it's like most of my friends, you know, that's why most of my expat friends, you know, they met their Filipina when they got here to the Philippines, or met the Filipina before they got here, and they ended up staying here because they want to be around the Filipina and around the Filipina's family. There's still some that after they're settled in here, you know, are thinking of taking their Filipina to the US. But most of us, you know, it's like once you live here, you understand the dynamic. You know, you're married, like me, I'm married to a Filipina. Her family's here, her family's my family. Once you get to that dynamic, you know, it's like you kind of figure it out fast that, man, it's a good life here. It's a good life with that dynamic to have that family. I know there was a time when, and I still think that there's still Filipinos, of course, still want to go to the United States. That hasn't changed because it's mostly for people looking for that opportunity to work, looking for that opportunity to earn money. But for most of us that retire here, we're retired here, we marry a Filipina, we have a good life here. You know, we have a good life here in the Philippines on a low budget, affordable budget, affordable on our pension. It doesn't make, you know, a lot of times we get criticized. People say, oh, you're just scared if you go to the US, your Filipina's gonna leave you. That doesn't worry me. You know, it's like for me to take Dazzle to the US if she wants to leave me. That's not a worry for me. My worry is I got to go back to work. You know, it's like my military pension is not enough in the United States. You know, whatever military pension I got, if I'm in the U.S., we can't live on that. You know, Dazzle would have to work. I would have to work. Even if I get my Social Security. If I get my Social Security right now with my military pension, that is a lot of money here in the Philippines. We really would be like living the life, you know, really living the life in the Philippines with 2 pensions here. But in the US, if I go to the US now, I would still be working. I know it because I have friends in the US that retired military, disability with the VA, the working for the federal government, and they're still working. You know, I'm like, dude, you got like 3 paychecks and you're still working because you know how expensive it has gotten. To me, just my opinion, is it's just, you know, a lot easier life here, not just for me, but also for Dazzle. And we're helping the family. We're sending her, help her brother go to college. Leanna, we'll be able to send her to college. We're able to send the nephews to college. So to me, I'm able to do more with what I got. Instead, if I was in the US, I would be back on the working 9 to 5, having all that stress, you know. So to me, it just doesn't make any sense, you know. If you understand what I'm trying to. All right, let me see. No worries, Fortune. I see you guys got carried away. No worries. You guys can discuss. I think you're at least you guys got your, you know, banter, you and HD. No problem. I can just skip through it anyway. It's not a big thing. As an outsider, I see a lot of good things to invest in the Philippines, as well as the people. Hopefully, over time, the country will strive much better future. Yeah, there's a lot of opportunities to invest, but I don't recommend it, Edgar. It's like I've tried it. I've tried the resto bar. I went to the resto bar business. I was really against it. For the longest time, I didn't want to open a business here. Took me like what, like 11 years. Finally, I opened the resto bar. I would not recommend opening a business here in the Philippines. Just too many obstacles. I know you're seeing a lot of opportunities to make money, but just enjoy your retirement. Enjoy your retirement. Be happy that you have a pension. Making money at some point anyway, I think we all have to stop. It's like for me, I just learned that I stopped wishing to have more money, making more money. I'm content. It's made my life a lot easier. Not wanting more money, or not desiring stuff. A lot of the reason why we did the resto bar anyway, because our relatives needed work because of the pandemic, and I thought we could help them. And they were employed for a little bit, close to a year. They were all employed in the resto bar. So for me, it wasn't a total loss. At least we were able to support them a little bit. They had income. If right after the pandemic here, many people were unemployed here. Many people were struggling here, man. People were like in dire need of help here in the Philippines, right during the pandemic and right after the pandemic, because business was still trying to like pick up. So that might take a while since President Rojas then passed antibody. Yeah, to hear it's just I don't, I just don't see it. It's like it is what it is with the Philippines. I think it's just corruption's just so ingrained here. It's like you don't know how to fix it. It's like people are good at pointing. It's this side, it's this side, but I think everybody's just getting a piece of like the piece of the pie. It's hard to figure out who to trust here. Colonel, exactly, Gino. That's one of the main reasons I'm here. All right, Colonel. All right. A good life over here on the cheap. Yes, and that's why our channel, I've always talked about budget. I've always talked about the people that I help. I think I really enjoy helping the people that I know if they were in the U.S. with their Social Security in the U.S. Man, you're barely living in the U.S. I've even seen people in the U.S. on their Social Security. They're close to like being homeless, or they're living in their car even. I've seen that. At least here in the Philippines, you can have a decent life even just on Social Security. If you're getting like at least $1,500 here, it's a comfortable life. You can find a comfortable life here in the Philippines, especially here in the province. I remember watching that video Mike did about there was one military veteran. He found a nice place on the beach. I think he was paying like $100 a month rent. You can find like good deals like that. If you're here, if you're patient. A lot of times what I tell people, just stay in an Airbnb and then look for your place, while you're looking, if you want to find that really budget. But, most of the people that I see, they've saved a little bit, they have a little bit of savings. Their Social Security is like closer to $2,000, around $2,000. I think the average Social Security is about 1,800. So that would be a good life for a single person here in the Philippines. That would be a good life here. I retired to live and not to die, right? And, for me, that's why I retired early, Joe. My thing was like, I wanted to experience life. It's like when I moved to the Philippines when I was 45, I just wanted to have fun. It's like my life up to then, when I was like, I joined the military at 17 until 17 to 45. It seemed like I was living a life where, I wanted to help, family. I wanted to I wasn't living my life. It's like for me, the move for me when I turned 35 or 45, to move here was like I wanted to start living my life. You know, I did not want to like sit on a desk in front of a computer another 17 years till 62 to collect Social Security. You know, it's like I was super healthy. I was athletic. I was like road cycling. When I got here to the Philippines, I was mountain biking, snorkeling, swimming. So I got to do that. So, you know, no regrets, no regrets. You know, it's like looking back, I knew I made the right move because now I'm seeing it. You know, it's like when you get older, when you're like me, I'm 59. You know, you start having these medical issues. You know, you start having to watch your creatinine. You can't drink as much coffee anymore. You got to switch to green tea. You can't eat a lot of like the red meat anymore. You got to go more vegetables, more fruits. You know, when I was like 45, man, I could just eat anything. You know, it's like I could eat anything. I could eat burgers. I could eat French fries. You know, now I have to like watch my diet more because as you get older, you're watching your lab work. You know, you're watching cholesterol, you're watching creatinine, sugar, you're watching all this stuff as you get older. Sir, I am hungry, but restaurants are closed. All right, all right. Anti-corruption. You know, they always do that, HD. It's like they always have like anti-corruption group, but the anti-corruption group end up being the corrupt group. You know, it's like, it's just I think there's just no way out of it. You know, the system is just so broke. You know, it's like people are in place, fortune mentioned oligarchs. You know, people, there's already a system in place that they're not going to change the system. Or not, no one person can figure it out because if you start knocking on the wrong doors here in the Philippines, you know, next thing you know, you're gonna get assassinated here. You know, it's just not something. It's so ingrained in everything in the Philippine way. I don't see any escape from it. Unfortunately, very unfortunate that. I mean, almost every day here, almost every month, new corruption, new people getting in the line of fire. Politicians. There's a list now. I think I saw Department of Justice. You know, the same usual suspects. You know, the ones that were like, I think the ones that were before indicted for corruption, they got moved out of office, got elected in office again, and now it's the same suspects. It's the same usual suspects. It's just unfortunate. We just, you know, we just don't have that, you know, like maybe a person that would be like a spearheading anti-corruption. They just don't last. They don't last here, unfortunately. All right, I'm gonna end the live stream here. No comments anymore. I got done early today, so I'm gonna head to the gym. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for joining the live stream today. See you next time. Take care, everyone.